Well, good morning. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning. And wow, what a difference, a few days can make in the world today. What is going on right now is so absolutely unbelievable, and it is happening so quickly. It is, every day, you think you've got something down and boing, something new happens. So between the recession that's taking place in Europe, the price of energy going through the roof, the UK had a really big issue with its gilt market where the pension funds are situated. They had to bail those out with virtually what they indicated would be unlimited printing. And, this really is a signal that we have reached the end game, that things are growing, that debt is growing exponentially so quickly now that you just cannot keep up with it. And this is a problem of their own making. And if you want to know who is at the root of all of this, well, I'm going to show you right now. Watch this.
And everybody's looking for someone to blame, aren't they? Is it immigrants? Is it people on benefits? It was the fucking banks! They showed you them doing it on the fucking news! Am I the only person that remembers that? Am I going fucking crazy? Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of watching Columbo at my granny when I was wee. Columbo! They'd show you the murder in the pre-credit sequence. It wasn't a whodunit. It was about Columbo proving that the guy did it. And then halfway through, my granny'd always go, I think it was her. No, Granny, it was fucking him! They showed you him doing it with a fucking paperweight. It's exactly the same thing with austerity. I think it's those Polish cunts round the corner. It was the fucking banks! The fucking banks!
But it was not only the UK that had to step in. China had to step in, and Japan had to step into their banks and start printing money to create bonds to bail them out. And so, yes, this is a very, very, very difficult situation. We're in currency wars right now. This was warned about 5 or 6 years ago. And now this is full-scale currency wars. And America, I think, is going to win this war purely and simply because they have reserve currency status. And as you can see, when the American dollar strengthens, all of the other currencies weaken. And we've reached a point now where the euro and the UK pound is on parity just about with the US dollar, unheard of. Okay, the euro was always stronger than the dollar, and the pound, it was, well, when I was younger, 2 to 1. And now on a par with the dollar. Anyway, this is basically destroying every country around the world because all of the debt is essentially held in US dollars. And so they have to be paid back in US dollars. So that means if your currency is dropping, you need more of your currency to pay back that debt. And this is what China is facing, the whole world. And of course, this is the trap of debt. And it's kind of interesting to watch the bankers get caught in their own trap, caught up by their own rules. And, you can now see the green agenda has completely fallen apart, as I said it would, because the people who run the countries, the politicians, they're receiving their orders from above, from people who are basically going to be unaffected by whatever happens. Oh, they'll be affected, they'll be inconvenienced, but not like we're going to be affected, okay? And the people in charge of the corporations are now realizing that they're the ones who are going to be on the hook if this thing doesn't work, and they know it doesn't work. And it's almost like they're saying, hey guys, we thought you were joking, hey? You're not really going to do this, because there are banks who are stepping back from this now because they may be sued over the decarbonization of the world. And so, yes, this is all falling apart. Germany, other European companies are going back to coal and wood heat to get them through this winter. And so, as I said, these countries would break ranks so quickly, it would turn your head, because, like I say, nobody wants to be the first one on the spear. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And because the most recent thing that has happened, which is just unbelievable, is the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines from Russia to Europe, both exploding. Now, most of Europe, Sweden in particular, has been calling sabotage. They recorded seismic detonations that resemble explosions, not an earthquake or anything like that. And so it doesn't matter who you point the finger at, and there is going to be some finger pointing. There's absolutely no doubt about this. But the end result will be the same. Europe is now completely on the back foot. Russia has no leverage with Europe, and it was basically it said, listen, you have Nord Stream 2. Okay, put that online and you have 55 million cubic feet of gas going through that line. You can have gas tomorrow. There is no crisis. Okay, these are Putin's words. So I don't know whether he was offering an olive branch, but he certainly pointed out that the Europeans could solve this crisis overnight. Turn the Nord Stream 2 on. Oh no, we can't do that. In the meantime, Spain they get most of their gas from North Africa, and so they said, well, we're just going to continue getting from North Africa. We're not going to put restrictions on our people. And the European Union, of course, again, have tipped their hand to the general public. You're in the European Union, and if we suffer, you suffer. And there you go. You can see this is exactly how they behave. And I hope you are picking up on it. And I think there's a lot of people now, like these corporations, are suddenly realizing that the rubber has hit the road. And what it's looking like is an absolute disaster for the general public. And so there is a great awakening taking place. Now the problem is, of course, what are we going to do with the fallout? Because this winter is going to be very, very difficult. As I say, Europe will be on the open market looking for energy at any cost. And because we're in world markets, again, this is the WEF for you. This is what they wanted to see. Everything's controlled by a world market. Well, that price on the world market is going to go through the roof. And so we will all be paying the price of what's going on in Europe right now. Okay, so this is going to be a very, very difficult winter. I hope that all of you spent this summer, like I did, prepping and making sure that all of my stuff is ready to go for this winter, and that unless the unexpected happens, I can weather this out for the next 6 months, because that's what we're going to have to do. Nobody knows what is going to happen here, other than it's going to mean austerity for the people. It's going to be very, very difficult for those people who cannot heat their homes. And of course the public, the vast majority of the public are in some kind of debt. Those people, about a third, who have mortgages, who are on a flex rate, you are suddenly going to find your interest rate is going to jump, and you can no longer take money out of that line of credit. You will only be allowed to put money in, and you will be expected to make payments. And with your cost of living going up, well, you can put the dots together and see where this is all going. It doesn't matter whether you're a company, a country, an individual. Doesn't matter what size of business you have. We're all going to be doing the same thing, because the same thing is going to be affecting all of us. Okay, so the globalist narrative is now done. And governments are not going along, whether it's within their country. We now have 3 provinces who are not going to go along with the federal rules on gun laws in Canada. They've ordered their police force to just ignore them completely, because they don't feel that they're appropriate. Okay, same with, finally, we have lost the ArriveCan app and many of the mandates, mask mandates and so on and so forth on the airlines. I think we were the last country to drop those, and this may possibly be because of the election of Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party. Now, I'm going to say this outright about politicians. You never get a perfect politician. You only get certain you know, crumbs dropping from every politician. And what Pierre Poilievre is doing right now, whether he turns out to be a good guy or a bad guy, he is contradicting the narrative. Same with Alberta and BC going against the gun laws in Canada. They are contradicting the narrative, and that's what we need to do. That's what the government does in its propaganda to bamboozle you. Yeah, I remember watching the movie Area 51, okay, about the aliens coming down and so on and so forth. And at the end of the movie, they explained how they deal with situations like this. And they said, well, we let a little bit of truth go out, and we let the media at it, and we let the public spread rumours. And in the end, it's just a big mess, and nobody knows what the heck is going on. And as strange as that may seem, that's what we need to do now to break the narrative of the World Economic Forum. I mean, it is collapsing anyways, but we need to continue to put the pressure on this, because let me tell you, these folks will be readapting this plan to get around what is taking place, the public awakening and so on and so forth. And you may find that they will back off here, but that legislation is still in place. Okay, the freezing of your bank account in Canada is still in place. When the Emergency Measures Act came into place, they moved that into legislation, and then they dropped the Emergency Measures Act, and so they can still freeze your bank account if you say something or do something that the Canadian government doesn't like. That needs to go. That needs to go. I can guess you hear the puppies in the background. My knife is going to be a little bit noisy for the next little wee while, I can see. So, my friends, please prepare yourself accordingly. This is not a good situation at all, and you really need to stop trusting your leaders and realize that when they offer you something, it's a trick or a catch. What's that old saying? Beware of Greeks bearing gifts. And this is nothing against Greeks. This is actually in praise of Greeks. This is a Trojan horse story. The Greeks bore a gift to the Trojan horse, and it was a trap. Okay, so beware. Be aware. Look around you. These people do not care. That whoever blew up the Nord Stream pipeline did not care about the European public and what they knew they would suffer as a consequence. They knew that Nord Stream 2 could come online at the press of a button and refuel the European gas supply at the press of a button. And they didn't care about you or the consequences to you or your family or your business or your future. You're just collateral damage. And that's what we all need to wake up to. We are just collateral damage. So you might as well do something. You might as well speak up now, or forever hold your peace. Okay, so I'm sorry it's a bit of a rant, but you know, there is a lot of shit coming down right now, and you need to pay attention. We need to pay attention, and we cannot let up our vigilance or our efforts. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.